Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when you played yourself and you playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I learned that system back fast. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It's a beautiful morning, and we're ready to get things rolling on this Wild Card Wednesday. Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning routine. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Looking forward to chatting with you and getting your thoughts this morning. So go ahead and get that phone ready and dial us in. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, ideas that you want to bring to the conversation, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to chat us up via social media, our outlets, because you can see the Martin Houston Show on at Martin Houston Live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also see it at Martin Houston 35 and also streaming at Tide 109 and X's and O's sports podcast availability as well. So all of that available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So I want to get you in on the conversation. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone. Make up your mind to be the difference you want to see in the world today. We got a great show lined up with you. And as I mentioned earlier, we got X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston joining us this morning. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Doing well. And, of course, Joe is behind the glass pressing all the right buttons. Good morning, Joe. What's up, man?
Hey, how we doing? Having a good day. You ready to get the second half of the week started? It's a big day for Bama football, Martin.
Absolutely. And that big day, of course, is around Pro Day. Of course, the guys who are leaving. And so I got a couple questions around Pro Day. And then we got a little true false regarding Saban, and something that kind of Ryan and I talked about on Monday and made me kind of think about Coach Saban, and a couple true false questions there. And then we'll talk. There hasn't been a whole lot coming out of the Coliseum, so we're kind of just waiting. So let me ask you this question. I guess I'll just make this the first true false question, guys. Is the lack of information and conversation as a whole that's coming out of spring practice so far true false? That's good news.
I guess it really depends on your mindset when it comes to it. I mean, it can be a good thing because nothing crazy is happening, so there's no injuries, there's nothing of that sort. So you can look at it as a positive, or if you can tend to be a bit paranoid, you could be freaking out because it means everything's going wrong and they just don't want to say anything.
Right. Joe, what do you think? I mean, because it has been an interesting spring. Hasn't been a whole lot. And even if you were to ask me, I would have thought, man, we'd hear all type of stuff about our offensive line and all of that. We got a new coach. We lost 2 tackles. that's been the thing that's probably been talked about the least. But anyway, good news, bad news coming out of the lack of news, I should say, coming out of the complex.
Yeah, Martin. I think the lack. I'm with Xavier. I don't know that if you can take it positively or negatively. Obviously, you realize there's no injury news, there's no fighting news, there's nobody getting arrested news. So that's great.
Right.
But Martin, it just seems like it's a carried on trend from the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Alabama football program has tightened the belts and just kind of tightened the information, and as time, like really since then, it's less and less and less information, less rumors come out, and so I'm not real sure. Like I want to hear what's going on in the inside linebacker room next to Henry To'oTo'o. I think that's a really important position for us this year. And I want to hear about the backup quarterback. And I want to hear about the tackles. But I think it's just a trend. Alabama football really utilizing the COVID-19 pandemic to control what gets out of the complex.
Yeah, he definitely is. Using that, and I guess at some point he'll announce a relaxing of the restrictions, or maybe not. Here's another true false question. Now, just kind of thinking through I asked. It's two kind of related to Nick Saban and possible retirement. Just asking one of them a little different way. Will Saban offer his last starting quarterback in this recruiting cycle?
Ooh, that oh man. Coach Saban will be 71 this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. No,
Yes, he'll be 71. Yeah, this
in
October.
Yes.
You mean the guy that starts the last game for him will be from this class?
Yes.
So that puts us out potentially up to 5 years, so 2027. I'll say yes. If this guy ends up being at Alabama for 4 to 5 years.
What if he's not?
But
If
it,
it.
if it's a Arch Manning and we think he's as good as he's been billed out to be, no, this won't be his last starting quarterback.
Joe, what you think?
I'll say.
Let me help you guys. Let me say it a different way then, because we have one guy that potentially could redshirt. We have one that's redshirted, so those guys both could be here 4 to 5 years. So, has he offered, or will this class include his last starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think this class is going to include his last starting quarterback. You look at the main prize, Arch Manning. He's going to get here in 20. What is he? He's a 23er, so he's going to get here in 23. Probably play 3 years, get out in 26, and Coach Saban will ride off in the sunset. And he'll probably have a new great relationship with the Manning family to kind of enjoy their retirement.
Yeah, if you're listening right now and you think Nick Saban, what we're saying is it's possible that we could be looking at him preparing to ride off into the sunset. Of course, I don't know if you say 2024. Okay.
I'll say 2024 because if Arch is as good as if we get Arch and he's as good as he's supposed to be, his last year at Alabama, Saban will be 74. I think Saban coaches 75.
Well, you have to remember, yeah, he would be coming up on 75 because Arch still has a year. So that we're talking about 4 more football seasons.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We're saying 4 more.
He'll be 2023. He'll be 72. 2024.
Right,
He'll
I
be
got
73. 2025.
Xavier,
74.
Xavier, I graduated.
Which means
I graduated from college, right? I know what 4 years it adds to 70.
No,
I'm just messing with you, man.
So I'm saying the 2026 potentially be his last season. And if Arch is as good as he's supposed to be, he'll be in the NFL at that point. So the guy that comes in 2024 would be the potential starter.
Yeah, you're saying he's going to coach to 75.
Yeah.
Jonathan Allen made a statement on Ryan Fowler's show a couple years ago, and he sticks to it. He said Saban will die on the football field. I mean, he said he'll die coaching. So if that's the case, we won't know when that is. But let me ask you this, follow-up question to that, because that's kind of a backwards way of me asking, do you think Saban's going to retire in the next 4 to 5 years, right? Coach K and what happened at Duke is what really made me think about this question. Okay, and I'm going to ask the question, then we'll go to break, and that way we don't have to rush to get the answer. But will Saban announce his retirement before the season in which he retires, or will he just drop the mic and walk away at the end of a season? So I want you guys to think about that. If you're listening on any of our outlets on the radio airwaves, you can call us at 205-342-9904 on the Taco Casa hotline. And remember, the question is, will Saban take a victory tour like so many other great ones will, or will he just drop the mic at the end? Will he do as Coach K did, where the entire season that Nick Saban is hanging up the reins? We'll answer that question, true or false, on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic pretty steady on the interstate eastbound and University Boulevard eastbound headed out toward Mercedes. If you see conditions this morning, please give me a call. Just 2 days left to take advantage of the tremendous savings during the month-end clearance going on right now at your hometown dealer, Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa. I'm Captain Ray.
You've probably seen their clothing around town on game days, but check out Christopher Mobley on the Strip. It's luxury game day apparel redefined. It's the only place in town where you can find Todd Hoops apparel. Clothing designed for the modern day entrepreneur, golf enthusiast.
Hey, Joe, I'm stepping away. I'll be right back.
Lauren, Yori, Grayson, and Visit. And if you haven't, you can find them at 1410 University Boulevard on the Strip. Also, they've got a great e-commerce site at ChristopherMobley.shop. So check out Christopher Mobley, luxury game day apparel redefined.
Another prescription, another surgery, here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmett Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941.
I can go from 0 to 60 way too fast.
Who knew electric vehicle owners were having so much fun?
20 or 30 years ago, I owned a gas sports car, and this car is much quicker.
It's a great, fun car to drive. When you put your foot on the accelerator, it just goes. They're fun, they're fast, they're efficient. Visit driveelectricalabama.com to learn how you can start having fun driving an electric vehicle.
Sponsored by the Alabama Clean Fuels Coalition, the ABA, and this station.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Increasingly cloudy, becoming very windy this afternoon. Strong south winds can gust as high as 45 or 50 miles per hour. The I-82. Thunderstorms arrive tonight. Storms could be severe with damaging winds and an isolated tornado possible as well. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 67 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
I guess you bet.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Gave you a little time to think about that last question there, and I'll ask it for those who may be getting into their car right now, joining us on the show. Get you caught up. Got a little true false going this morning, and the question is: will Saban announce his retirement before the season? This question kind of came up as we were talking about Coach K and everything, and the fact that they're in the Final Four. And had he not announced that he was going to retire before the season, this matchup would still be a big time game between Duke and UNC, North Carolina. But now that North Carolina knows, and they've never met in the tournament, and this will be the first time met in the tournament, and it's in the Final Four, and you can knock out your arch enemy, the guy who has hurt your dreams so many times before. Does that inspired me to wonder, would Nick Saban announce before the season? So got a couple comments on Facebook. You guys ready? Y'all ready? Y'all got your answer?
Got it.
All right. CJ Watson says, depends on what Miss Terry says. If she wants him to have a swan song, he'll have a swan song. Curtis Moore II said Saban said that he would coach Alabama until he's no longer a value to the success of the team anymore. That's why I don't think he'll coach until he dies. Also, Coach Saban will do the drop the mic exit. Saban doesn't want distractions and everything centered on him. All right, guys, what's your thoughts?
I agree with Curtis 100%. As far as dropping the mic, that's not Coach Saban's style. I don't think he'll want to draw attention away from the team and make it solely about him. Just let it be organic. I think his will probably be as organic as it comes. The season ends, he's like, okay, I'm done. Or, throughout the course of the season, he lets the AD know and things of that nature that this will be his last year, but it won't be announced until afterwards. And it'll be an easy succession into the next head coach.
Okay.
I think Xavier's onto something there. I think the only thing that I might he might let it out before the last game, but I don't think he'll do it before the season, like ahead of the whole season. He's not going to want to soak up 12 games of coach, I love you, but I think I'm not calling him self-centered by any means, but everybody loves recognition. I think right before the last game or heading into the playoff, if he's made it, a lot like Coach Bryant kind of announced that the Liberty Bowl would be it for him. I think at that point, Coach Saban might let it out, and yeah, the team would have to put up with a week or two's worth of distraction. But I'm with Xavier. He's not putting it out before the season to distract the team in that fashion.
Yeah, I would, and I would agree with you guys too. I don't think he would do it before the season, because he would, that one move would quickly nullify one of his biggest elements of the process about being a distraction. He will become the biggest distraction maybe college football has ever seen, especially guys if he's won another national title between now and then. That time, and he, has not only become the king of college football, but stands alone with some distance. I think it would end up being such a distraction. So I agree with that. But I'm like you guys, I'm not sure that he wouldn't do it before that last game. Would that be a distraction if he told his players and his team and all of that before that last, if he was playing for a national title? I guess that would also matter, right? If that season comes down to whether or not he's going to be playing for we just assumed that in whatever day that is, Joe. Did you notice the assumption we all made? We just all made the assumption that Nick Saban's last year of coaching, Alabama would still be playing for a national title. I don't even think any of us even thought that it's a possibility that he could have a drop off, right?
Pretty safe assumption. 9 finals in what 14 years, 15 years, 9 finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in reality, he has 8. If you really take out the first couple of years, he has 8 in the last 11 or something like that. Didn't he get he missed his first year, his second year, third year he made it. So you take those first 3 years out, he has 8 times in the last 12. He's every other year since he's been coaching. If you take out his first year, Joe, he has won half of the national titles available. I mean, not half. If he had won this year, he would have won half. That's what it was. I calculated.
Yeah.
If he had won this past year, he would have won half of the national titles available. So, but anyway, I thought that was a pretty funny question. Interesting. Blind Squirrel, Georgia fan, says next natty equals retirement. That and then mic drop. So that's an interesting take on it. And he said he don't want the rat poison a victory tour could bring. So I think we're all in conjunction there, assuming that that's going to be the case. And a bunch of us are probably hoping that that's nowhere near happening and not with the next quarterback he signed. So I think we had Jumbo on the phone. Jumbo, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Hey, ever since Coach Saban stepped on campus, it's never been about him. It's been about this university, the football team, and dedicating and making the players and better men. If he retires, it's going to be after whatever his last game is. If you remember Stallings, it leaked out that he was retired, and then after he beat Auburn, he announced the retirement. And then he went to beat Michigan down in Tampa, 17-14. But Coach Saban, I feel will wait till after the game because he doesn't want any added pressure on the players, and he doesn't want it to be about him. It's simply about the University of Alabama.
And I'll get you made a statement there, and I'm going to get these guys' opinion on, and then I give mine. Jumbo said it's not about Nick Saban. Do you all agree with that or not? True or false?
I definitely agree with Coach Saban's mentality. He tries his best not to make things about himself. That's why I said I think if it's still Greg Burns, he'll know some of the coaching staff will know they'll have already taken the steps to have the next coach ready, but maybe not. I didn't say anything about the players. I don't think he'll do that to them.
You?
I mean, Mark, let me ask you this right quick. let's just say hypothetically speaking, Coach Stallings was going to retire. Would you want to know, or would you rather wait until after your last game? Or you're a football, you used to be a football player. How would you feel about it?
I would, if it's, I mean, I would want to know. It wouldn't bother me to know. Now, I wouldn't want him to tell us at the beginning of the season, but I wouldn't want to find out if he, is going to walk away at the end of that last game, and us not get to, thank him and all of that stuff. So I would want to know before that last game, or what he thinks would be perceived as the last game, and that would be the first round if you're playing in the college football playoffs. So you would want.
If you're going in the playoffs and you're playing for a national championship, and he announces during the playoffs, that would put extra added pressure on a player, or would it?
Dude, if you're playing for a national title and a little added pressure cracks you, you don't need to be there.
Okay, well,
I mean that would be my. Let me tell you, a guy. Let me tell you, like Bill Curry retired after Miami or left after Miami. You felt robbed. A lot of people didn't like Bill Curry. Well, I did. Bill Curry is the only reason I was at Alabama, and you felt robbed. So and I was able to reach back out to him later. But and I know Coach Saban and Bill Curry leaving is two different things, but. I disagree a little bit, and Joe, you can come in because Joe hit it a little bit. Saban has some ego. You don't get to be where he's at without an ego. He just knows how to manage it. So it is about him, but he knows how to keep it about him and about his team as well. And that's nothing wrong with that. Some people think it's something wrong. He wants to be the best, and he wants to be the best coach. Yes. You have to have a little bit of that ego. He wants to be the best, but not only does he want to be the best, he wants his team to be the best, and he wants his coaches to be the best. I think when Nick Saban leaves college football, and y'all correct me wrong, I think Nick Saban will live the remainder, if he ever walks away from coaching, he will live his life through his coaches that he's put into the profession. I think that's why he spends so much time bringing young guys in and old guys in and rebuilding coaches, because he's building his legacy both as a coach of players as well as a guy who puts other coaches into the profession.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I mean, when you look at his coaching tree,
he has more.
Half of the SEC now is his coaching tree, and you look at, I mean, Miami, where else? Like all these big D1 Power 5 conferences are littered with his coaching staff.
Yeah, and think about this. When you say coaching tree, there are guys that I find out I didn't even. There's guys in the pros that they end up coming up for a job, and then you find out, oh yeah, they were part of Nick Saban's analysts and part of Nick Saban's coaching. I mean, he just the guy. He's gonna be not just the best to have done it. He's gonna be the best at helping other people do it as well. I cannot wait to see the string of national championships connected to him, one person removed. Like if you're doing the whole LinkedIn, and when you say coaching tree, he doesn't have a coaching tree. He has a coaching farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has multiple trees. So, and Joe, we kind of, I asked you to respond, but then didn't give you a chance to. You got anything before we get to break here?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Martin. That when you said it is about Saban to a degree, but in the fact that it is about Saban, he also wants to. He realizes he doesn't want to be
right.
The distraction. He realizes, when the team wins, I win. So he loves. I think
Yes.
he's got that little bit of that little bit of smile. You remember the onside kick smile?
Yep.
I think that was a little small moment of that personality slipping out.
Yep.
He's very, very good at managing it, but it's in there, so for sure.
And you just nailed it. I think that he has that, and you can't get to that level without some of that. But I think his love for the kids in the university and understanding how to do it. He knows that if he gets in front, then he hurts the continued progress or the process. The process works because he's behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz, pulling all the right strings. And if he ever comes from behind the curtain and puts himself out and sticks his chest out, then it begins to hurt the process. And so he has it. And as you said, that's a great insight, Joe. When he got that, that was a moment where he goes, I just out coach. And I don't know what he said, but this is what I thought when he did it, Joe, was, young fella, you just got out coached. That's exactly what I thought when he did that little, yep, you thought you had me, but I had that one up my sleeve waiting on that moment. So, and he was bold enough to pull it out. He was bold enough to call it. So anyway, all right. Let's get the break here. Coming back on the other side, we'll wrap up that conversation, get into a little pro day right here on the Martin Houston Show with X's and O Sports, Xavier Houston, right here on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Towns and Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic pretty steady on the interstate eastbound and University Boulevard eastbound, headed out toward Mercedes. If you see conditions this morning, please give me a call. Just 2 days left to take advantage of the tremendous savings during the month-end clearance going on right now at your hometown dealer, Towns and Nissan of Tuscaloosa. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, it's double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Here's how we long for Skechers Arch Fit shoes. If you've never tried Arch Fit shoes from Skechers, you're missing out on next level comfort. Saying you like comfort but not trying Arch Fit is like saying you like Italian food but you've never tried pasta. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists who used over 20 years of data to create a shoe that provides total foot and arch support for all day comfort. Arch Fit distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have. You don't need an arch problem to love how they feel. See all the styles of machine washable Arch Fit shoes now at Skechers.com.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, and your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, guys, I got another quick question for you on the true false side of things. Didn't even give you a chance to think about this. kind of a Nick Saban replacement. We've been talking about his retirement right here on the Martin Houston Show. And the follow-up question is, will Nick Saban have his replacement on his staff, or will he name one of his former guys? Let me say it this way: will Nick Saban be directly involved in his replacement by either having him on his staff already, and or putting up one of his former coaches into that circle?
Does that mean D'Amico Ryans is going to be the new defensive coordinator?
Maybe.
Oh man, I think when was the last time?
True. You can say it, Xavier. He's going to have his hand-picked successor, right? It's Pete Golding.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, hold on, Xavier.
Anybody on staff now that would be?
Well, remember, we're talking about all things being normal, no sudden departure or anything like that. If Nick Saban is here 4 to 5 years or longer, 75, if you want to say that, is his replacement on this staff? And I think Joe just hit something. If it's before then, maybe not. But the three names I had was Sark, Napier, or Golding potentially. Just making a quick list. And I put Golding on there because I don't think we understand. If Golding is still here 5 years from now as a DC, we probably look at him equal or higher praise than we did Kirby.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like if he's 5 more years under Saban, we may feel totally different about, him and what he does, especially if he builds off of last year and continues to build off of that defense. So I think you may be on to something, Joe.
Yeah. If he sticks it out through the 2023 quarterback, I'll say he'll be on staff. If not, if he leaves before, no.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he likes Sark, and I think Sark, based on what Sark does at Texas, of course, but I think Napier is another guy that Saban likes a lot, and seems to be a really good coach. There may be others. Kirby would be an easy one. Did he bring Dooley back to mold him? Will Dooley be our offensive coordinator next year when Bill O'Brien heads to the pros? Did Nick Saban go out and get his replacement OC?
Good question.
So that's all some thoughts there. Curtis Lewis said, "Who with a bunch of question marks are you trying to burn the campus down?" Listen, hey, I'm not talking about today. I'm just saying you have to project. True.
If they don't want us to talk about this, they need to let us back in practice so we can talk some football.
There you go.
I mean, this is the best topic you can manage right now, not seeing practice.
That's right. Hey, let me ask you this, Jeff. When you look at that, but when you look at Nick, I think Nick Saban absolutely loves Pete Golding. I'm just convinced that he is vested in that young man. And I've heard people say that he is a savant of defense, and he is learning more how to do it on the field. And I think that's what Saban loves. So
there's got to be a reason to keep him around, and that's like we obviously always use the line, "Oh, in Saban I trust, in Saban I trust." So trust the man. He's kept him around. He obviously sees something good in Pete Golding, and I would argue that the defensive result has improved year after year. So let's just trust the man.
And wouldn't this be the first time that last year we didn't have all the injuries? First time he has a solid unit coming back. So we'll see if he builds off of that. And that brings me to pro day. A couple questions around pro day. Which Bama player needs the biggest pro day? And let me see if I can find the list. Let me see if I can find the list of the guys.
I got it. Jalen Armour Davis, Slade Bolden, Christian Harris, Phil Mathis, Evan Neal, Chris Owens, LeBron Ray, Brian Robinson, and Daniel Wright.
Yep. And Evan, you say Evan Neal?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Of this list that has the guys that will be performing, in my opinion, it has to be LeBron Ray of guys that have any shot. And not saying that Daniel Wright doesn't have a shot, but I feel like he'll run good and things of that nature. It just depends on if a team likes him. But as far as the guys on this list, I'm really surprised that Josh Jobe isn't performing based off of this list, because if he was, that's who I would have said. But since he's not, I'm going with LeBron Ray.
Baby, this is kind of like a practice, right? So we're not going to see Josh Jobe at anything that looks like a practice.
Ooh, that's cold right there. That was cold.
Right, LeBron Ray is the answer. I'm looking at the list. LeBron Ray or Chris Owens, both two guys that there's a lot of question marks about their career. Owens, you put a lot of not so fun tape out last year, and LeBron Ray injury questions his entire career. So those two guys to get a shot in the NFL, I think if they have a big day today and impress some scouts and kind of speak well and just overall perform well, they can see themselves hopefully get drafted in that 6th, 7th round. Or if you're looking at a Chris Owens type, a big day could land you an undrafted free agent contract that sets you up for your post-college life.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with those two guys. And then I would throw two other guys I think that need to have a big day. Chris Allen needs to run if he's going to do anything. He needs to show that he needs to have at least something happen, or at least get another opportunity to run. Slade Bolden, I think he needs to run in faster time. I think he can help himself tremendously if he's able to run a faster time. The one thing you don't want to do is be the slowest. You don't want to be the slowest anything. Well, you don't want to be the slowest anything, but you definitely want to be the slowest wide receiver unless you have all the other intangibles off the chart. And so I think he's one of those guys. Now we can circle back on this on tomorrow after and talk a little bit more. But which one of these guys, if you could bring one of these guys back, excluding Evan Neal, because we know we bring in left tackle back, but which one of these guys would you bring back that's leaving? Jamison Williams, John Mechie, Christian Harris, Josh Jobe, Brian Robinson Jr., Fadarian Mathis, Jalen Armour Davis, Slade Bolden, LeBron Ray, Chris Allen, Chris Owens, Daniel Wright. Which guy you bringing back? Christian Harris. You two.
Put Jamison Williams on your list? I'll take that.
Yeah, and that was the two guys I was like, is it gonna come down between Williams and Harris? Huh?
I'll take the lightning bolt receiver.
Because
I'm taking Harris because I think we finally saw his full potential at the end of last season, and we saw a guy that can bring such a different, multifaceted as far as the positions he can play on the defense, and I would love to see that happen for a full season.
And I'm with Joe for this reason. I think you can replace Christian Harris easier than you can replace Williams. We're gonna have a good wide receiver core. I don't know if we're gonna have anybody that makes you play the length of the field and the width of the field. And
with experience, I think some of these freshmen can do it.
I mean, that's what I'm. Which who are ready to play? That would be interesting. Watch this. Now, if you're the advisor, which one of these guys would you tell to come back, and then we'll get the break so we can get to what's his name? If you were their advisor, which guy would you advise to come back? Would you have advised to come back? Williams, Mechie, Harris. Let me see. Who else did I have? I had Bolden and Armour Davis.
I don't think I would have advised any of them to come back, Martin.
Yeah.
I think if I was each of their personal advisors, you look at each of their circumstances. They all, either their draft stock's as high as it's going to be, or the guys behind them at the positions at Alabama will probably enforce less opportunities in the next year. I think these guys are all making probably the best business decisions that they can at the moment.
The only I'll say with Jameson and Slade there was and probably Armar Davis there was just absolutely no reason for him to come back. Jameson you're not going to get higher than the first round. Especially and then you're coming off of an injury and you're still projected first round. Take the money.
Yeah.
Slade with the wide receivers we've brought in over the last two classes,
he was going to lose.
Pushed to the max.
Yep.
Armar Davis he could have come back, but I don't think he really had anything left to prove. He looked great when he was healthy, struggled with injuries down the stretch.
And he probably would have been beat out. The only guy I probably would have, at the time the decision had to be made, that I probably would have said something, may have been Mechie, because I wouldn't have known how his knee was going to respond. Now we know it's responding great. So that would be the thought there. Xavier, go ahead quickly.
No, Mechie for that reason, and I say Christian Harris just because some of the inside linebackers coming out of the season had really great performances and were slotted ahead of him. His combine has pushed him back into that conversation.
Yeah, he'll be one of the top guys, I think, if he stays clean the rest of this break. Man, it's been a great show. We'll be back on tomorrow to do it again, but talk more sports. But at this time, we're going to transition. We'll have Scotty Hollins with Blueprint Ministries, the executive director, presenting the Christian Moment of the Week right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa Thread.
Wednesday morning, significant severe weather expected to enter West Alabama late this afternoon with a line of intense thunderstorms after 5 p.m. National Weather Service says all modes of severe weather are in play. A high wind warning goes into effect in Lamar, Fayette, and Pickens counties at 5 this afternoon, with widespread 60-mile-per-hour winds forecast. A wind advisory goes into effect at 9 for the remainder of West Alabama. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for continuing coverage. It's free. Don our details for Media Tuscaloosa.
The Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama works every day to make Tuscaloosa County and West Alabama a great place to live, work, play, and visit. To build on our momentum and also address our challenges, the Chamber is hosting a series of educational seminars on some of the most pressing issues in our community. So please come listen, learn, and participate with local leaders to help take this community to the next level. The Next Level series is taking place each Wednesday from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at the C.A. Fred campus of Shelton State Community College, located at 340 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. These conversations are open to the public, so please come listen, learn, and participate with local leaders to help take this community to the next level. For more information, please visit westalabamachamber.com.
Join West Alabama leaders to learn more about quality of life, cultural arts, and recreation. 3:30 to 5:30 at C.A. Fred campus of Shelton State.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It's now time for our weekly catch up with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson and Marshall Dentistry. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Hey, just before we get into it real quick, BJ Stabler, he and I reconnected last week and spent a little time together. Man, you that's one of those you put in that column of he listened, he heard, he responded. Man, a great young man, and he gave you a lot of credit for mentoring him. You had him go through a book called Shape.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I had a different plan this morning. We can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
And DJ obviously he is the director of the A Club. I mean, that's his official title.
Yeah.
He's just director of A Club. So he's over the A Club, so he gets a chance to reconnect with all the guys like Martin who have been a huge part of the tradition that this great university has, especially our football program and our athletic program, I should say. But so BJ had just finished his final year at Bama when I first got here. So I got here in January of 2009. BJ's last season was 2008. And so BJ was trying to, figure out what was next.
Yes.
So BJ had a job, and I won't mention what his job was, but he had a job that he really didn't like. So he and I were meeting and spending some time together. So we walked through. We had a book, but the book actually explained an acrostic, and it walked through this acrostic, helping believers kind of hone in on why God has placed them here. And the acrostic was SHAPE. And so the S stands for spiritual gifts. Like, hey, how has God gifted you spiritually? The H stands for heart. Like, what do you want to do? That's what that was kind of asking. The A was for abilities. Like, what kind of natural abilities do you have? BJ, he is a people person.
Hey,
I mean,
are you telling me that if my spiritual gift and my ability doesn't allow me to carry a tune in a bucket, I probably shouldn't try out for American Idol?
The data speaks for itself.
Hey, I tell people all the time, and I'll let you get back to it. I tell people all the time, if your mama and your grandmama are the only ones that told you could sing or do anything, you probably need to find a different profession.
Absolutely. You know it. So the S is scripture gives, that H is heart. Heart is what do you want to do. A is natural ability. What are you gifted to do? Like, are you just good with your hands? Can you sing? And so then the P is for personality. Kind of like, hey, how has God gifted you from a personality standpoint? And the E is experience, right? And so what you do is you look through all of these, and not just you look at them individually, but then you put it all together. And so BJ shared this story, so I'll share this story. BJ, I said, BJ, what would you like to do? He says, one thing I'd like to do, at least at one point, I'd like to, after we did the shape, like, because he didn't know, but then after we did that shape across it and did that little evaluation, he said, you know what? I want to be player development in the NFL. I'm telling you, Martin, he was that laser focused. From like not knowing exactly what he wanted to do to like that exact job, right?
Right.
He had spend time again in the Word, praying, and again just walking through. Okay, what are the steps to get there? So he did a internship. He kind of hung out at Bama for a little bit, and he did like an internship in recruiting, and then he went to Georgia State and was like a GA for them for 1 year. Guess where he was the next year?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Go ahead.
He was player development for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
How great is that, Martin? And he ended up having that role for like 7-8 years until he got the opportunity to come back. And of course, as they say, when Mama calls, he had an opportunity to come back and serve as director of the A Club, and he couldn't turn that opportunity down. So I am so proud of BJ. Just an awesome young young man, and I can't hardly even say young man anymore. He's a grown man, and just so proud of him and the impact that he's having. He's doing a phenomenal job in what he's doing. But I did want to kind of, since you brought that up, that acrostic, I think can be helpful to, some of our young people out there, or just some of our older people out there who would say, I'm trying to figure out what, maybe I've done a job, I've been in a career, and I'm trying to refocus and saying, hey, what's next or what's now? And just to review that acrostic, man, it's shaped, and I heard it first from Tony Evans, and then I ended up getting a book and saying, man, this could be really helpful to some of the young men that I get a chance to encourage and mentor. And it was extremely helpful.
And I would tell you, man, there's so many different ways that we share our faith and that we build witness and all that. And I have one word that I tell people: if you want to describe what I do, I'm an empowerer. Everything I try to do. That's my goal. Is when I see people or opportunity, I go, how can I help them be better at what they want to do? And to me, that book is one of those tools that you just can't help but go, okay, somebody comes to you, or you need to go to someone. Someone may be listening right now, man. You may need to sit down with somebody, reach out to someone and say, hey, man. Well, actually, I guess, Scotty, I come back to is that book still readily available?
I'm pretty sure. And you know what, Martin? If you want to, we can revisit a little bit next week.
Yeah, that'd be great.
In case people didn't get a chance to write them down.
Yes.
And then I could actually tell them where they can get the book and all that.
Yeah, let's do that, man, because that's what this is about. Is doing that and building witness. And I'm gonna tell you, if you meet BJ Stabler and know that this book helped him get on the right path, then you will run to get this book. And I don't know who wrote this book, but he gonna owe me some type of. No, I'm just kidding. No, hey, tell our listeners where they can find you, man. And like I said, you've been doing this since 2009, and BJ is just one of those stories. And I wanted to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's changing lives.
Thank you. It's a great privilege, man. I love doing things like this, especially alongside brothers like you.
Tell
it. www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me an email there. A message there. Come straight to my email.
All right. That's Scotty Hollins getting players in shape, not on the field, but in life. Maybe he can help you as well. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, X. Thanks, X and Old Sports, Xavier Houston, for being a part of the program. Thanks, Joe, for what he did behind the glass and behind the mic today. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the Martin Houston Show. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And hey, if you're in the Tuscaloosa area in the path of that storm, stay safe, stay prayed up. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.